Yeah, that was Florida Senator Rick Scott questioning FBI Director Christopher Wray last week. Wray confirming the Chinese Communist Party has secret police stations in the United States so they can monitor, harass, even blackmail those who are critical of the Xi Jinping regime. Joining me right now is Oklahoma Congressman Kevin Hern. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. We talk a lot about the CCP on this program, and I've been raising the alarm on these police stations. Your thoughts on the fact that the CCP has a police station in New York?
Maria, it's great to be with you. First of all, I think we all have to recognize China is our greatest threat, and we've got to start acting like it. If you go all the way back to Eric Swalwell and what the Democrats have allowed to happen with him having an affair with a known spy, the refusal to allow us to look at Hunter Biden and China relationships over the last 2 years, which we will do starting in January, and seeing the connection to the Biden administration and what it's done to this country. And now we see the Secretary of Homeland Security and the DOJ and the FBI acknowledging that they know these police stations exist, but for national security purposes, they can't talk about it. And then when you go and actually talk to the Chinese about it, they say, oh, no, they're not police stations. They're to help our citizens with their driver's license, yet they won't tell us where they are. So it's really suspicious. China is a bad actor, and we have to start doing something about it.
Well, I mean, you touched on a number of really important issues there, because you're right. Christopher Wray keeps telling us that the CCP is the biggest threat to America. The CCP is our biggest adversary. But what are they doing about it? You've got spies everywhere you look here. You're right, Eric Swalwell and Fang. You've got Hunter Biden and his secretary. I mean, they have infiltrated virtually every industry in this country. As Mike Pompeo has said to me many times, the CCP is now inside the gates. So what do we do about it at this point? And do we have a president that is compromised and unwilling to actually hold the CCP to account?
One thing the Biden administration did when they first came into office, and when you talk to them privately, as we did on Ways and Means and other classified briefings, is that they understood the importance of what President Trump did in going after China. No president had ever done what he did in going and directly confronting them on the issues they have and dealing with us in America. And the Biden administration has been very weak on follow-up to that. Even Kevin McCarthy, our soon-to-be Speaker of the House, if everything continues to move in the way it's going, has asked Speaker Pelosi 2 years ago about putting in place a select committee on China, and she refused to do it. He tried to get a bipartisan committee this should be a bipartisan issue. This should be Democrats caring about the sovereignty of our nation and what China's doing. And so Kevin McCarthy has said that in January, we'll set up a select committee on China to investigate all of these tentacles of what China is doing inside of our borders.
Yeah, he joined me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, and he talked about his China Select Committee that he is putting together. Todd Pyro, jump in here. One of the issues here is donations. Companies that have a big China exposure are big donors to the Democrats.
Well, that's the real reason, right? I mean, obviously, follow the money. I have less of a policy question, Congressman, and more of a defense question. We can shoot a missile thousands of miles away and hit an area the size of my hand. But you're telling me that we can't find Chinese police setting up shop in our country? I understand that it's secret, but come on, we should be able to find these people.
Well, it's either one or two issues. It's either this government doesn't care, or they're complicit in the problem. And I will tell you, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, I've called him to resign multiple times. I've met with him. He's been a complete failure. He needs to be impeached. What was going on the southern border for the last 2 years is an atrocity. 100,000 of our citizens have died from fentanyl coming across the southern border, and now we're finding one more issue that he's allowed. Somebody's supposed to be protecting our homeland since 9/11, and he's doing a miserable job. And he's been around this administration since 2005 under President Obama. So, this guy knows what's going on. He's just incompetent and needs to go.
Well, I mean, maybe, as a viewer just texted me, maybe the FBI should be raiding the Chinese Communist Party's police stations rather than raiding President Trump's home. How about taking politics out of the FBI? I spoke to Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy yesterday, and he was talking about all the lies around Russia, and that's one of the reasons he is vowing to remove Adam Schiff from the House Intelligence Committee, one of 3 Democrats from congressional committees he's about to take out. Watch what he said.
You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel Committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs. But we're also going to stand up to what's happening, not just in the halls in Congress, but what's happening into our higher education institutions, the anti-Semitism that's going on these campuses and others.
Congressman, your thoughts?
Well, a lot of things to unpack there. You know, again, going back to China, but you look at what Swalwell and Schiff and Omar have done, and the Democrat Party's been complicit in allowing them to, do these things and not hold them accountable. And, they talk about a couple of tweets of our members and did something unprecedented. Speaker Pelosi pulled them off committees. And these folks have done something egregious to our national security. There shouldn't be any concern from the Democrats or anyone else about our future speaker taking them off committees. But when you talk about China, I'd like to expound on it a little bit more. When you look at they're buying our farmlands, they're buying lands around our military bases, what they're doing with our food processors and taking over our supply chain on our food inside of our country, what they're doing on our higher education campuses with these Confucius Institutes and trying to radicalize and institutionalize some of our American citizens. And then finally, what you look at the impact on our supply chain and our economy. One could argue that, they're threatening our friends militarily, but at the same time, they're holding our economy hostage with their supply chain issues. And I think the American people are tired of this, and that's why you're seeing a change as well from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party.
Yeah, meanwhile, you've got the DOJ attacking soccer moms and the DOJ coming after Trump supporters. Christopher Wray would not even answer the question on whether or not the FBI had confidential human sources dressed up as Trump supporters at the January 6th Capitol breach. That was incredible as well. Congressman, we're going to be following all of this, and we so appreciate your leadership. Kevin, Hern, thanks very much for joining us this morning.